Where true wealth begins. Imagine you've spent the better part of your life giving, building, and striving. You've raised children. You've worked tirelessly. You've sacrificed more than most will ever know. And now you find yourself standing quietly at the threshold of life after 50. The world still spins, but something inside you slows. Not in weakness, but in wisdom. This is the moment when many ask themselves quietly, sometimes painfully, what do I truly have now? Is it the house? The savings account? The title at work? What if I told you that the greatest wealth after 50 has nothing to do with how much money you've made or how high you've climbed? The true treasures of this stage in life aren't made of stone, steel, or paper. They are far more fragile, yet infinitely more powerful. And once you lose them, no amount of fortune can bring them back. As someone who has spent decades caring for and guiding older adults across the United States, I can tell you this: the most fulfilled people in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, are not the ones with the biggest homes. They are the ones who've protected 5 priceless treasures. Today, we will talk about those 5. And if you hold on to them, they will carry you through this chapter of life not just with grace, but with joy. Let's begin with the one that affects everything else. 1. Your health is the true gold of aging. At 50, your body begins to whisper things you didn't hear in your 30s. An ache here, a sudden fatigue, a change in appetite. These aren't accidents. They are signals. And if you listen carefully, they may save your life. There's an old saying in geriatric medicine: before 50, people chase disease. After 50, disease chases people. The difference? Preparedness. Let me share the story of one of my longtime patients, Mrs. Ellen Parker. She was 52 when she came into my clinic for the first time. A loving mother, a hard worker, but someone who had spent years ignoring her own needs. Meals were skipped. Sleep was inconsistent. Exercise? Rare. She had always told herself she was too busy to care for herself. One day, she fainted at work. The diagnosis: dangerously high blood pressure, chronic joint inflammation, and signs of prediabetes. Her sons rushed to her side. They took turns driving her to the hospital, buying medications, and missing work to be with her. And as grateful as she was, Ellen told me later that the guilt of becoming a burden to her family was harder than the illness itself. That was her turning point. In the 6 months that followed, Ellen made changes not for beauty, not even for longevity, but for love. She walked 30 minutes a day. She ate smaller, more balanced meals. She went to bed at the same time each night. Slowly, her blood pressure lowered. Her joints became less stiff. She laughed more. Her skin glowed again. And most importantly, she no longer needed anyone to take care of her. Her sons, once worried and stretched thin, now came by just to visit, to share coffee and quiet time. The difference was remarkable. And yet, it came from the smallest daily choices. After 50, a healthy body isn't a luxury. It's your independence. Without it, even the most devoted children will struggle to help. The cost of medication, hospital stays, and long-term care can be staggering. But more than money, illness often steals something far more painful: your dignity. I've seen marriages crumble under the weight of chronic illness. I've seen children resent the very parents they once adored, not from cruelty, but from exhaustion. So ask yourself, is there anything you're doing daily that your future self will regret? Are you prioritizing rest? Are you moving your body? Are you drinking enough water? Are you checking in with your doctor not when you're sick, but to stay well? Health is not just about living longer. It's about having the energy, the mobility, and the clarity to live well now. Let your 50s be the decade you stop chasing success and start protecting your strength. Because there's nothing more valuable than waking up without pain, walking without fear, and knowing that your body is still your ally. And remember, you are never too old to start healing. Never too late to begin again. The most beautiful transformations I've witnessed didn't begin in someone's youth. They began in someone's courage. 2. Family is the home your heart always returns to. There is a moment in every person's life when they stop chasing applause and start craving presence. For years, we build. We accumulate. We chase goals, titles, and numbers in bank accounts. But somewhere after 50, a quiet voice begins to whisper, who is really beside me? Who knows my story? Who will sit with me when the world goes quiet? Let me tell you a story of a man named David. He was a successful businessman, admired for his intelligence and respected for his financial acumen. He had a wife, 2 beautiful children, and a life many would envy. But like many men in their prime, David believed that success was the ultimate offering he could give his family. So he worked. And traveled. And climbed. His wife, supportive and patient, held the family together in his absence. One day, during a routine business trip, he made a mistake. A woman he met during a dinner function became more than a conversation. What he thought would remain a secret became a storm. That woman became pregnant. And the truth eventually reached home. His wife, devastated by the betrayal, asked for a divorce. She told him, with trembling hands, that she could not raise their children alongside someone who had broken her trust in such a deep and public way. She didn't scream. She didn't curse. She simply walked away with the children. In court, David watched them go. His home emptied. His evenings grew silent. Years later, even though he still had wealth and position, he confessed something during one of our wellness retreats. He said, "I have a house. But I no longer have a home." He went on to say that even when he tried to reconnect with his children, they were distant. They respected him, but they no longer needed him. They had learned to live without the version of him who once chose pride over presence. David is not alone. I've heard stories like his more times than I can count. Not all involve infidelity. Sometimes it's simply the accumulation of emotional neglect, unspoken words, or unhealed wounds that cause the people we love to slip away. At 50, the question isn't whether we still have time to build a strong family. The question is whether we are willing to choose the people we love above all else. Because here is the truth, after 50, your family doesn't just need your money. They need your time. Your softness. Your humility. They need to know you choose them not just by obligation, but by desire. Marriage, at this stage, isn't about fireworks. It's about steady warmth. It's about having someone who knows your medicine schedule, your sleep routine, your favorite old songs. It's about shared history, shared silence, and mutual grace. And children, even when grown, still need a parent who shows up. Who listens without lecturing. Who offers presence over performance. A harmonious family, where there is laughter around the dinner table, where forgiveness is practiced, and where love is felt in small, ordinary ways, is a treasure. One that cannot be bought, borrowed, or replaced. So if you are lucky enough to still have a spouse by your side, hold their hand more often. If you have children who still pick up your calls, say thank you. And if you've made mistakes, as we all have, seek to repair what can still be repaired. Because in the end, it won't be your title that brings you comfort. It will be the quiet moments with people who know your story and still choose to stay. Even if your family is not bound by blood, perhaps its close friends, neighbors, or spiritual companions nurture those bonds. They are the roots that keep you grounded when everything else begins to fade. At this age, we don't need more admiration. We need connection. And if you invest in your family with the same devotion you once gave your work, you may just find that coming home is the greatest reward of all. 3. Savings are the silent freedom of old age. After decades of working, giving, and sacrificing, most people look forward to the day when they can finally rest. No alarms. No deadlines. No more answering to the demands of others. But here's a truth many discover too late: rest is not peaceful if it comes with financial fear. Financial freedom in later life isn't about luxury. It's about dignity. Let me tell you about Mrs. Lillian Moore. She's 63 now, living alone in a modest but beautiful apartment near her old neighborhood. Her son and daughter-in-law offered to take her in when she retired, but she politely declined. She told me once during a consultation, "I've spent my whole life taking care of others. Now, I want to wake up when I want, make my own tea, and sit by the window in peace." The reason she could make that choice? She had savings. Lillian had worked for 35 years as a school secretary. She never made a six-figure salary, but she lived below her means, avoided unnecessary debt, and always saved a little each month. When her friends bought expensive handbags, she bought stocks. When others took luxury vacations, she stayed local and put the rest into her retirement fund. There were times she questioned her choices. But today, while some of those friends now depend heavily on their children or live with financial anxiety, Lillian enjoys small freedoms they no longer have. She chooses her doctors. She buys what she needs without asking. And when she fell and needed surgery last year, she covered the medical bills without burdening her son who had just welcomed his first child. Having savings is not about selfishness. It's about preserving harmony. Many older adults believe they should give everything to their children while they are still alive: their money, their homes, their land. They are going to inherit it anyway, they say. But timing matters. Giving everything away too soon leaves you exposed. You may say, "My children are good. They would never take advantage." And perhaps that's true. But life changes. Financial pressure changes people. Marriages change. Jobs are lost. And suddenly, the same child who once promised to take care of you is struggling to take care of themselves. I've seen too many elders come into my office with deep sadness in their eyes, not from illness, but from betrayal. They handed over everything. And now, they must ask for permission to buy their own medicine. Protecting a portion of your financial independence is not an act of distrust. It's an act of self-respect. It allows you to say no when something doesn't feel right. It allows you to seek the care you deserve without waiting for approval. It lets you contribute to your grandchildren's lives out of joy, not obligation. And if you're someone who never saved enough in your earlier years, it's not too late to begin. Downsizing your lifestyle. Avoiding unnecessary expenses. Exploring community resources. All of these are powerful steps toward reclaiming a sense of control. In my years of practice, I've found that the happiest seniors are not the wealthiest. They are the ones who feel safe. So, ask yourself today, if something unexpected happened, would you be okay without relying on your children? Do you know where your money is going each month? Are you saving something, however small, just for you? Financial peace isn't just about numbers. It's about the quiet pride that comes from being able to stand on your own feet, even when they've walked many, many miles. And in the end, that kind of independence is priceless. 4. A peaceful mind is the most powerful medicine you can carry. As we age, the body begins to slow, but the mind often becomes louder. Not in volume, but in weight. Thoughts linger longer. Worries stay overnight. Regrets knock louder. And joy, if not invited in intentionally, can quietly slip away. This is why, after 50, your emotional well-being becomes just as important, if not more, than your physical health. Because the way you think and feel each day will either carry you forward or quietly weigh you down. Let me tell you about Mr. Raymond Hill. A retired postman, he spent over 3 decades walking the same streets, delivering letters to families that grew older before his eyes. Raymond was known for his humor. Always smiling. Always kind. But after he turned 60 and lost his wife to cancer, something in him changed. He withdrew. Stopped gardening. Ate meals alone in silence. When he came into my clinic, it wasn't for illness, it was for a heaviness in his chest that no test could explain. As we talked, I realized that Raymond was not sick in the body. He was sick in the spirit. And what he needed most wasn't a pill. It was permission to live again. We began with small steps. She asked him to write down 3 good things each evening before bed. At first, it was hard. "I'm not a grateful man," he said. But by the second week, he wrote, "The soup I made tasted good." Then, "My neighbor waved at me." Then, "The sun came through the curtains this morning." Over time, his face brightened. He joined a local walking group. He adopted a senior dog. The heaviness didn't vanish, but it no longer defined him. That's the power of emotional resilience. It doesn't mean you don't feel pain. It means you don't let pain become your address. After 50, we all carry losses. Lost youth. Lost loved ones. Sometimes even lost dreams. But if you allow your thoughts to remain in sorrow, your body will follow. Countless studies in Western medicine confirm that negative emotional states like bitterness, loneliness, and chronic stress are linked to heart disease, weakened immunity, and even memory decline. Your feelings matter. Your inner life matters. You deserve to feel joy not because life is perfect, but because your soul is still alive. So if you're holding on to anger, find a safe way to release it. If you're weighed down by regret, speak to someone you trust. If you feel unseen, volunteer. Teach. Mentor. Share your story. You are not invisible. You are invaluable. Create daily rituals that bring you peace. Sip tea by the window. Listen to music from your youth. Say a prayer. Walk barefoot on the grass. Laugh when you can. Cry when you need to. And please, stop comparing your life to others. Someone else's happiness does not mean your own is less. The only comparison worth making is between the version of you yesterday and the one you are becoming today. Happiness after 50 is not something you find. It's something you choose to notice. A joyful spirit is not a gift of luck. It's the result of intentional living. So choose to smile, even if your eyes are tired. Choose to speak gently, even if your heart is bruised. Choose to hope, even when it hurts. Because your mind, when at peace, is the safest home you will ever have. 5. After 50, it's finally time to live for you. For most of our lives, we live for others. We live for our children waking early, working late, putting their needs above our own. We live for our parents honoring them, caring for them, hoping to repay the debt of love. We live for our work building, striving, pushing through exhaustion to prove our worth. We live for society trying to fit into roles, expectations, and standards that were never truly ours. And then suddenly, we look around and realize we are 50. For the first time in decades, something shifts. The children may be grown. The career may be slowing. The world no longer asks so much of you. And in the quiet that follows, one question rises gently: what do I truly want now? This question can be frightening, especially if you've never asked it before. But it can also be the most liberating moment of your life. Because the truth is, the years after 50 are not the beginning of the end. They are the beginning of you. You are no longer living to prove. You are living to feel. This is the time to rediscover what makes your soul light up. To pick up that old paintbrush. To play that dusty guitar. To write letters. To garden. To dance in the kitchen barefoot. To cook meals slowly, not just for nourishment, but for joy. It's the time to reconnect with old friends. To forgive without being asked. To say I love you more often, not because life is short, but because love is long. It's also the time to reflect. To ask yourself what you need to let go of old wounds, toxic relationships, unrealistic expectations. To release the past, not because it didn't matter, but because it has already served its lesson. And if you're afraid it's too late to start something new, remember this. Some of the world's most meaningful contributions were made by people after the age of 60. Some of the most powerful love stories began after heartbreak. Some of the happiest chapters in life were written in the quietest moments when the noise faded and the heart finally spoke. You are still becoming. So take care of your body not to impress anyone, but to feel alive. Take care of your mind not to stay young, but to stay open. Take care of your spirit not to chase perfection, but to honor your truth. At this stage of life, you've earned the right to say no to things that drain you and yes to things that nourish you. You've earned the right to rest without guilt. To play without reason. To dream without deadline. Most of all, you've earned the right to come home to yourself. Because the greatest gift you can give to your family, to your community, and to the world is a version of you who is whole, healed, and deeply at peace. A gentle invitation. If this message has touched you in any way, I gently invite you to do 3 small things. First, subscribe to this channel so you won't miss future messages created just for people like you, people who've lived, learned, and are still growing. Second, leave a comment below. Share with us which of these 5 treasures spoke to your heart today. Your story might just be the light someone else needs. And third, watch our other videos. There is so much wisdom still to explore together. Let this be a safe space where we honor age, cherish experience, and celebrate the quiet power of being exactly where we are. Thank you for listening to our story. May your new day be filled with peace, health, and everything your soul has quietly longed for. We'll see you again soon.